A letter from Anna. I never expected to receive a letter like this in my inbox. The handwriting was neat, the paper slightly worn around the edges. Someone had taken their time, carefully folding it before sending. It was from Anna, a young woman I had never met. Yet somehow her story struck a chord deep inside me. Anna wrote about her life in a way that was raw, honest, and painfully familiar. She was 24 years old, but her story was unlike many others I knew. Wrapped in the comfort of her parents' protection, she had spent her young adult years trying to find herself, only to be pushed back every time by invisible walls built by those who loved her most. 15 jobs, part-time, office work, internships, worry. She'd started and quit them all, not because she was lazy or careless, but because she felt trapped. And now she was reaching out, hoping I might understand and maybe, just maybe, offer some advice. Reading her letter, I found myself wanting to know more. About Anna, about the dreams she never quite dared to chase, about the fears that kept her locked inside her own mind. I decided to write back, not with answers, but with an open heart. Because sometimes the first step to healing is simply knowing you're not alone. Anna's story. Anna's childhood was different from most. She was the only daughter of two loving parents who worked tirelessly to give her the best life possible. But their love came with strings, strings that tied Anna tightly, restricting her wings before they could fully open. From a young age, her parents wanted to protect her from the harshness of the world, shielding her from failure, disappointment, and risk. I was never allowed to fail, Anna wrote. Every mistake was met with worry. Every challenge was softened so I wouldn't hurt. But I think, in trying to keep me safe, they took away my strength. As Anna grew older, the world outside her family's care began to call. She wanted to prove herself, to stand on her own feet, but every time she tried, she was met with resistance. The first job she took was part-time at a local bookstore. It seemed perfect. Quiet, safe, manageable. But her mother worried about her working late hours. Her father questioned whether the job was serious enough. Within 2 months, Anna quit. The cycle repeated 15 times. From cashier to receptionist, from freelance assistant to data entry clerk, Anna tried it all. Each time she hoped things would be different. Each time she faced the same inner battle. Her desire to be independent, clashing with the voices of doubt, echoing in her home. Sometimes it was subtle, a comment here or there. Other times it was outright pressure to give up and focus on something better. I wasn't lazy, she said in the letter. I was scared. Scared of disappointing them, scared of disappointing myself. The weight of expectations. Anna's story reminded me of so many people I knew. Chi spi sheets, chi girlaruir. Chibrin, between what they wanted and what others expected. But what made her situation so heartbreaking was how deeply love and fear had intertwined in her life. Her parents weren't cruel, far from it. They believed they were doing what was best. But the love they gave came at a cost. It kept Anna safe from harm, yes, but also from growth. It made her doubt her own strength, her own decisions. It made her feel like she was never enough. I don't even know who I am outside their shadows, Anna wrote. Every job I quit felt like I was failing, but every time I stayed, I felt like I was betraying myself. A crossroads. At 24, Anna was standing at a crossroads. She was tired, confused, and lost. The safety net of her parents' protection was fraying, and yet stepping out on her own felt like stepping off a cliff. She wasn't sure what she wanted anymore, or who she was without the approval and guidance she had always relied on. She wrote to me asking not for solutions, but for someone to listen, for someone who might understand the tangled feelings she carried, for advice on how to find her own path when everything inside her seemed to be holding her back. What comes next? Anna's letter ended with a question. How do I find the courage to live for myself? The beginning of the struggle. Anna's childhood had been filled with expectations. Not the loud, demanding kind, but the quiet kind. The kind that seeps into your bones and makes you believe your worth is tied only to success. From an early age, Anna knew that to make her parents proud, she had to be perfect. Grades had to be excellent, behavior impeccable, and every opportunity seized. She threw herself into schoolwork with all her energy. Nights were spent studying while her classmates went out to play. She took extra classes, practiced skills, and sought every chance to improve herself. But no matter how hard she tried, it never seemed to be enough. Every time I brought home a good grade, it was expected next time, Anna wrote. I felt like I was running on a treadmill, always moving, but never getting anywhere. The first job and the first failures. When Anna got her first job, companies. She was determined to prove she could handle responsibility. She arrived early, stayed late, and worked harder than anyone else, but small mistakes were magnified by her own fears. The pressure to be perfect became unbearable. Her parents watched from afar, offering gentle reminders to be careful, to not take on too much. But Anna interpreted their caution as a lack of faith in her abilities. I felt like I was disappointing them every time I stumbled, she said. It was as if my failures were their failures too. One by one, the jobs piled up and then slipped away. Each time Anna quit, a piece of her confidence shattered. She told herself she was trying to protect herself from pain, but deep down, the pain only grew. So the slow drift into dependence. After a few years of this exhausting cycle, something inside Anna began to change. The fierce determination to succeed softened into a quiet acceptance of limits. She stopped fighting so hard. The idea of pushing herself became frightening. I started to rely more and more on my parents, she wrote. They were there to catch me when I fell, but in catching me, they were also holding me back. The shelter that once felt safe began to feel like a cage. Anna stopped applying for new jobs. She declined offers from friends to go out. She avoided new experiences. The world beyond her home became too overwhelming. At the year of giving up, more than a year ago, Anna finally stopped trying altogether. She quit her last job, an administrative assistant position she barely lasted 6 months in, and retreated into the only place she felt she could survive, her room. She stopped attending classes she was supposed to finish. She stopped answering calls from old friends. She even stopped opening the door when delivery people came. Days blurred into nights, weeks into months. I told myself it was a break, she explained, a chance to heal. But the truth is I was scared. Scared of failing again. Scared of trying and being let down. Her parents said little, watching quietly as she withdrew. Anna suspected they were relieved in a way. Relieved that she was safe. That she wasn't risking failure anymore. Living in the shadows. In that dark year, Anna lived only in the spaces she could control. Her world shrank to the walls of her home. She read books, watched movies, and lost herself in the digital world. But the loneliness was a constant companion. I felt like I was fading away, she admitted. Not living, just existing. But at least I wasn't failing anymore. There were days when she wanted to scream, to break free from the silence, but the fear held her back. The fear that if she stepped out again, she would fall. A flicker of hope. Anna's letter didn't end with despair, though. Buried deep beneath her words was a flicker of hope. The hope that maybe, by reaching out, she could find a way back. Maybe there was a life beyond fear and failure. I don't know what the future holds, she wrote, but I want to try. I want to believe I can be more than the girl who gave up. 6 months ago, Anna found herself in a hospital, not for a physical injury, but for something much harder to see. A battle inside her own mind. The doctor's words were both a relief and a shock. Anna was diagnosed with clinical depression. For months, she had felt like she was sinking, drowning in a sea of silence and hopelessness. But the diagnosis gave her a name for the shadows that had haunted her for so long. It was there, in the quiet waiting room between appointments, that Anna met Jim. Jim was unlike anyone she had ever met. He radiated an energy that was almost impossible to believe, especially considering the heavy burden he carried. Jim suffered from severe anxiety disorder, the kind that twisted his thoughts into loops of fear and despair. Yet somehow, he wore a mask of joy, a bright, contagious smile that lit up the room. Anna learned that Jim had tried to take his own life 8 times over just 3 months. The pain he had endured was unimaginable. Yet now he was on the path to recovery, fighting each day to reclaim his life. You learned to build a shell, Jim told Anna one afternoon, his eyes sincere beneath his cheerful facade. A shell that keeps the darkness at bay, at least for a little while. Anna understood more than she could say. She too had spent years hiding behind walls of silence, pretending to be okay when she wasn't. I had a shared journey. Jim and Anna quickly became companions in their healing journey. Their conversations were deep and honest, filled with moments of laughter and tears. They talked about the pain they'd endured, the fears they faced, and the fragile hope that kept them moving forward. Together, they discovered that recovery wasn't about sudden breakthroughs, but small victories. Getting out of bed, making a phone call, or simply facing another day. Their friendship blossomed into something rare and beautiful. Each gave the other strength when one faltered. Anna felt a warmth she hadn't known in years, a reminder that she was not alone. Returning to life as their health improved, Jim invited Anna to join him in working at his family's small company. It was a modest place, far from the hectic city offices Anna had once dreamed of. But it felt like a fresh start. The company welcomed Anna with open arms. For the first time in years, she felt useful, valued, and hopeful. She and Jim worked side by side, sharing the ups and downs of daylight bamai kolpi lechel elioftakta sikta forku puipasichem support supporting one another through every challenge. Together they found joy in the simple moments, a shared cup of coffee, a quiet walk after work, the gentle rhythm of ordinary days. A new chapter. Anna's letter ended with hope, not the reckless hope of her youth, but a quiet, steady belief in the future. She and Jim were no longer prisoners of their pasts. They were partners in healing, ready to face whatever came next. together. I'm learning to live again, Anna wrote. Not just survive, but truly live. And for the first time in a long time, I'm excited for what's ahead.